Thank you. Rightio. So, a couple of things came out in the break. So, if you already have people and you've already built your systems, how can you build that ownership that becomes accountability? So, I can't sort of rip up my systems and say, oh, geez, we're going to have to start all again. We just employed somebody new. So, how do you actually renew it then, do you think? How can we build that ownership to get the accountability? Get their help. So I would be saying things like, hey, look, we think this is the best way. The way we've been doing it is this, and we want to do it that way. But look, as you go through it, can you please help us see if there's a better way? So you've done something like this before. Tell us if you can see anything wrong with it, find fault with it, find anything, and do that in a positive way. So now they're not saying, oh, that rubbish, we don't do it that way. We never did it that way. Now you're turning that into positive energy and bringing it on board. So once they've found something, make those changes quickly, so that they feel proud of it, then they own it from that point on. So no matter whether they're brand new or already there or whatever, build that ownership. One thing I also forgot to say in the first bit is, and it comes out in conversation there too, when we have that person who says, what I want you to do is to go there and write down everything you do, so we've got the system. When somebody writes down the system for doing this or the process for doing that, and they say, that's it, that's perfect. Who is it perfect for? Them. Only them. So in other words, this is the perfect way to make coffee, provided you are you, right? This is the perfect way to make coffee, provided you're Patrick. This is the perfect way as long as you're John, and so on. So what we have to do is to make sure that we're doing it for everybody. We've got the visual people, we've got the kinesthetic people, we've got the audio people, we've got different learning styles, and so on. All those things come into play. Okay, so if I gave you a brand new, geez, we're going back a bit. If I gave you a brand new video camera 10 years ago, because we don't give video cameras anymore, if I gave you a brand new video camera, all shrink-wrapped and brand new, who's going to open it up, rip it all apart, and plug it in and try and charge the battery and use it straight away? Who's that person? Okay, it's not everyone. Did you notice? Who's the person who's going to read it? Okay, oh, yep, that looks really cool. I'm just going to look through the Start Here booklet. Who's going to do that? Okay, some people are going to do that. Notice it's not everyone. Who's going to sort of say, oh, look, Bill, you know how to use this. Can I just get you, help me with this? Who's that person? Okay, so there are all the different learning styles. We have to cover all of them. So some people will say, oh, look, if you've got new people, look, honestly, you just tell them what to do and just say they've got to do it. And if they don't do it, well, they're out. They're obviously not up to it. That's an immature thing. You covered 25% of the population. The other 75% don't learn that way. They're not deep-end swimming lesson people. Okay, they need to be helped in whatever different way it is, different learning approaches, so be aware of that. So when we write systems, we want to get people's involvement, but we want to own it. Okay, we are going to make this last session very, very real, and to make it real, we're going to map a process using our little post-it notes, and we're going to map the process right there, and then you're going to see what we do with it after that. So we're starting now, 3:53, and we're going to finish when it's done. And we're going to have lots of fun. No one's allowed to leave the room. You have locked that room, haven't you? Good. Locked, yeah, all done. Okay, the only way out is through the toilet window, and we'll notice. Okay, so then, we are going to map the process, but I thought it'd be a good idea if you knew what all the little figures mean, because they're all different. Okay, they're all standard figures. These are ISO standard. Let's look at the ones we've got here. We've got a terminal, we've got a process. So here's a terminal. We've got a process. We call it a process step because it's one step in the overall process. We've got a decision, which is not a square, it's a diamond, okay? And then we've got a document, which is one of these, and we'll show you how we use that. We've got a connector, which is one of these, and every time we use one of these, we've got to hum the theme from Twilight Zone, because it sort of takes us to a new dimension. Woo! Da 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 da, etc. Okay, and then we've got a delay. We get a bit stingy when we get to delays. It's the Scottish heritage. We just cut a terminal in half, and we get a delay. Delay. Okay. Okay. So they're the figures. Let's see how they work. So here's a very little basic process, very basic little process on how we get members into our little membership group of some sort. And the process is called Create New Member. That's not actually a step in the process, that's just saying what it's called. And then we go right down, we receive an application form, there it is. We review the application form, is it complete? And if it isn't complete, We're going to identify what they haven't filled in. Then we're going to tell them, advise applicant, etc. And then we're going to wait and hope that they come back and give it to us again. We don't know how long we might have to wait because it might be a long time. If it is complete, then we're going to enter the details into our database. And then we're going to make sure that it's paid, check that they've got their payment in, put their payment details, into MYOB 0, whatever you use. And then we're going to make sure that is it complete, is the payment complete, have we got the money? And then if we have got the money, great, we send out a welcome letter. And if we haven't got the money, please, you need to pay us the money. We're going to advise them again. So we've got that process. Everyone, it's a pretty straight, basic little process. We're all happy with that? Good. Okay, so let's look at what the things mean. The terminal is the start or the end. So here we are. This is the start, and this is the end. I can only ever have one start, but I might have more than one end. Succeed, fail, withdrawn, rejected, succeeded, or passed, or whatever, ready for the next thing, and so on. So that's a terminal. And notice that the front one is the process name, create a new, and it starts with a verb, because I'm telling you to create a purchase order or to manage a purchase order, whatever it is. I'm not telling you invoicing. This is what invoicing looks like. You walk in and there's the bookkeeper sitting at the desk. Imagine I'm sitting and I'm the bookkeeper. And here I'm sitting at the desk and I'm doing the invoicing. And you say, John, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just doing the invoicing. Yeah, but you're not actually doing anything, John. What are you doing? I'm doing the invoicing. I told you I'm doing the invoicing. But your hands aren't moving. Nothing's happening, John. Look, I'm following the process, okay? It says here, an invoice will be created, and I'm just waiting for it, all right? Okay, so that's what happens when you do it in the passive voice. I know it looks silly seeing me do that and act like a child. I am still that little child, as you are. Okay, so, pardon me, we have to write in the active voice. We are telling somebody to process the invoices or to whatever it is and so on. Okay, so that is that. And at the end, we've either got the status, as in we've finished and the new member has been created. Sometimes we'll put that as we've gone right through, we're finished, and we're ready to do whatever's next. And that's sort of giving us the thread to keep on going to the next process. At the end of that, we're ready for the next one and so on. Can you see how that works? Okay, pardon me. Bit of gin. That's good. Okay, so that's the terminal. Now we're looking at the process. So a process step is one of these, and this is telling somebody what to do. Do this, and the first do this is receive the application form. The next one is review the application form. And then the next one, if we're going to the left, to your right there, is identify the information not provided, if they haven't done that. And then we've got advise the applicant, and so it's telling that person what to do, okay, and so on. So see how they all start with a verb. Receive, review, identify, advise, enter, send. Imagine if it was all written in the passive voice. An application is received. The application is reviewed. Do you know what to do? Because I've actually seen people who write I've seen many things written like that. It's hard to follow. Okay. Next one we're looking at is a decision. So here's the decision. So we've got sort of something like, do this, is it okay? If it isn't, do this. And it could be more than that. It doesn't have to be just those two steps. It could be a whole pile. And there are actually three ways of using this. It can either go along and then come back into the thread, or we can do it and then go back up and test it all over again. Like, is the tyre pumped up to the right pressure? No, then pump up the tyre and then now check the tyre pressure. Is it pumped up to the right pressure? No, it still isn't, so keep going ring-a-rosy until it does meet the right conditions. Yep, we're now at 44 psi. Good, go down. Keep on going. Do you see how it can work like a little bit like a filter? That's what it's doing there. Okay, so you can't go on if you haven't filled in the form properly. You won't get that letter if you haven't paid. Can you see how we stop errors going through? This is where we're doing our little bit of error trapping. This is where we make sure that everything works properly. So we don't have people in the database who shouldn't be there. We don't have people signed up for something if they haven't paid the money or whatever it is. Okay, so that is our decision. How many ways through that process are there now that we put a couple of decisions in there? More than that, let's see. The first one. We come down and the form isn't complete. So we have to identify what it is they haven't done, tell them what they've got to do, and then wait whilst they hopefully come back again, right? That's one path through that process. Let's look at the next one. Okay, so here, they have filled the form incorrectly, so it went down past the first decision. Then we're going to enter the database details, put them into MyOb. Have they paid? No. So now we're going to advise them you need to pay. And then we wait again. So can you see how we've now got two ways through that process? And then the third one, you've probably worked it out, is straight down at the bottom there. So they did fill the form in properly. They have paid their money. Good. Here's your welcome letter. Can you see how we can map the options into the process? Who can think of processes they have which work that way, where you've got some decisions which then determine different paths of activity, different actions? Because most processes aren't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finished. Okay, very few processes are linear, straight through, and they're finished. Most processes have a couple of ifs and buts. Okay, next one. We're looking at the document. So here is a step, receive the application form, and it's saying here is the application form. Whatever name we give there is the real name that we've got on that document. So say they're stored in Google Drive or wherever they are. I'm looking for a document called application form. I'm not looking for something called new member doc or something like that, because they're going to say, think of all the questions Mary Ann's going to ask. John, I found something here called new membership form. Is that the application form? Every question that somebody's asking is saying, you haven't done this properly. You need to fix it. You need to fix it. So there, we want to make sure we have 100% integrity with that. If we're trying to tell somebody, oh, this could be a form, it could be a checklist, it could be a guide, spreadsheet, all the different things that document could be, we also use it for video. And then so that Christine will map it show it on our workflow as a video, what we do is to put a little line across the top. Christine knows that's a video. She puts a little video icon there and the name of the video. It's the same thing though. Okay, so there's our document. The next one we've got is a delay. Who likes delays? No one likes delays? I love delays. Remember those scones? So let's look at the scones. We mix up all the scone stuff, we roll it out, we put it on the baking tray, we put it in the oven, we take it out of the oven, we eat the scones. Who's happy? They're raw. Look at it the other way, with a delay. We bake the scones, blah, 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 we put them in the oven, we wait 18 to 20 minutes or whatever it is until you can poke a little skewer through and it comes out clear. And then we take them out and now we eat them. Who's happy at this time? So a delay is necessary. Or we prepare a purchase order, have it checked and okayed, so it's okay, yes. Send the purchase order to the supplier, wait 2 days or 1 day or whatever, call supplier and confirm receipt of purchase order. Who does that sort of thing? So the delay tells somebody following this process that you've got to wait and do this. Invoice the client. Is this client a good player? Would be a diamond. Yes, they are. Then we might just let it go. Is this client a good payer? No, they're not. Wait 1 day, give them a call and confirm receipt of the invoice and note when they're going to pay it. Update the CRM. Can you see how the delay is going to help us build in a better process? It'll catch things from going wrong. It'll help us confront every breach. You will notice that I missed one. Anyway, I'll come back to it. The lines just simply show the sequence and flow. And then we're looking at the last one, which is a connector. Who's game enough to hum the tune? Someone's got to be, come on. I'm not the only tune hummer. So here we are here, and we've got a process that comes along and goes down, and it goes this way and that way, and it gets all the way down here, and it's quite a complex one because I get to here and I realise, oh, because it was that answer to the question, I've actually got to go back to here. How do I show that we go back to here? I could draw a line, couldn't I? And it'd be like a printed circuit board, lines everywhere. Bit hard to follow. So what I do is to say, from this step, go out to A, and I'd put a big letter A there. Where's the other A? Up here. Follow the arrow from there into this step. So can you see how it goes back up to there? So it's like snakes and ladders, isn't it? I've forgotten which one this is. The snake or the ladder? The ladder. It could be the snake. Okay, so they're the figures we're going to use. Now, What we're going to use, this is an old version of it. You have the new improved now with Blue Enzymes version of the risks and benefits sheet, which is what we call that. This single piece of paper is the most important piece of paper that we have in our business, apart from the invoice. Let me show you what it looks like in reality. So I'm showing you real stuff here. This is what we do day in, day out, because we love it. And here we're going to come into Team Drive. We're going to go into consulting clients, and we've got some of our more recent clients there. Okay, so we're doing this. So you can see this is a client. I'll just come here to, let's go here to energy carbon, maybe there. Okay, so we've got some process maps in here. So here are some we baked before. This is what we're going to be doing this afternoon. Oh, there's me showing, hey, we've got an update on this one. Isn't that a cool way of, anyway, okay, I like it. It works for me. Okay, there's a process. So this one here looks a bit blurry there, but it is actually the process for prepare, and I hate it when that thing comes up, prepare equipment and materials orders. So this is their process for doing that. Notice that they've got their, go away. They've got their preferred suppliers list. They've got a little call out on that, check color temperature, lumens per watt, etc., etc. Isn't that cool stuff? And so on. And then, are we supplying this from stock? Yes, it is. Mark this and do that. So we're making sure that we've captured everything they're doing. The whole process is there with pictures of me next to it, and so on. And it goes, oh, look, there's a connector. And so on. Anyway, I'll leave that. Okay, so that's the process there. And then from that, go away, then we're going to put it into the Google site. You'll see that, but I'd rather show one that we do rather than one that someone else has done. Because as well as doing that, so here is the process. Let's just come back to that one. Let's prepare. I love it. Can you stop this? Okay, so we'll come in here to consulting clients, and we'll go back to, if we can, please. Come on. Okay, Canadian carbon. There we go. And we were looking at prepare equipment and materials orders. So that's the first one. We made that change there. And then we come down here, and this is the risks and benefits sheet. So what the risks and benefits sheet is doing, and I didn't select anything on purpose because it made us look good. This is just what they all are. So what we've done at the top is we put the number. So this was the second one we mapped. Oh, I wish I knew how to turn that off so it didn't show that little comment box. I'm going to leave it there because it's just annoying doing that all the time. Okay, so you can see the number, we can see the date we did it on, just a couple of weeks ago, so it's not 3 years ago, the one we did that worked. The time was 2:30 in the afternoon. The process was prepare equipment and materials orders. We started off as prepare materials orders. Then we said that's the same process as prepare equipment and materials orders. It's in the area of delivery. The process owner, and if you want to mark up anything on there, you can, but that's the only one you got. There are a few spares over there, though. Okay, that CEO is the owner of this process. The owner of the process owner, is the person who owns the design of the process. No one may change this process except that person. In other words, someone can recommend a change, but only that person can approve that change. Does that make sense? Because if you don't control it like that, what do you have? Starts with A and ends with NARCI. Okay. The next bit we're looking at is in the middle where it's got RACI, which looks a lot better on the new sheet, you've got to admit. RACI is how we define every role there is. Now, sadly, that's one that I wanted to do a printout of for you, and I forgot. So I will give that to Steve, and Steve will give that to you. And that will prove how communication works. RACI stands for, and you can see the letters there, we've got the word there anyway, responsible, accountable, contribute, consult, and informed. The responsible person is the doer. Okay, the person who actually does it is responsible. Okay, the accountable person is whose ass gets kicked, A for accountable, A for ass, whose ass gets kicked if it isn't done properly. Excuse the rudeness, but it gets the point across. So I go into a restaurant and I've got some waiting staff there, and one of them doesn't serve me correctly. He's a bit rude to me, actually. Who am I going to complain to? The waiting staff or the manager? The manager. The manager is accountable for what they do. So think of it like that. Contribute, consult. Who would I speak to if I needed some help? Who can I consult if I need help or assistance or guidance? Or who contributes something to me that lets me do this task, whatever it is. Okay? So contribute, consult, they give me something, or I can ask for something. And then lastly, who is informed? Who needs to know that this has been done? So if I'm doing it and I have to give it to this person, they will know. I have to tell them when I've done it, but I may have to tell someone else. And it doesn't mean I've got to go and knock on the door and say, hello, I'm just letting you know, I've just done another invoice, right? Informing somebody could be it's in Xero, so somebody can find it there. Or it's in the in tray, or it's on the clipboard, or I did actually tell you, or it's in some sort of system somewhere, or I pressed submit. That's all informing somebody, okay? Okay. Then we're going further left. Who was in the room? Edwin, Glenn, and Yami. That's the people, the actual people. Notice that's the only place where we've used a name of anybody, because all the rest of it is role-based. Systems, processes are role-based, not person-based. Because imagine if we went right through and we put Marianne, 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 Marianne. Marianne comes in next day and says, oh, John, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave. Oh, no, I've got to open everything up. Marianne becomes Bill, 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 Bill. Yes, Bill, what is it? I'm sorry, John, I've got to leave. Oh, damn it. David, 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 David. You know, you get the picture. Okay, so don't use names, use roles. If you had multiple people doing one role, I presume they're all going to do the one system. Okay, so follow the one system. Then we come down to the before and after, which is much improved on your version of this document, isn't it? Do you like it? It's got this process is the one we're mapping now, and then the process that comes before that. So we do this, then we do this process, then we got the one after. This is where we say where we just want to get context. Where does this process sit? So this process, prepare equipment and materials orders, follows the process where we tender to contractors. So we tender our job to contractors, we do all our orders, and then after that we're going to conduct the project meeting on site. Does that make sense? That's how it works for them. So it does make sense to them. And the next one across is what you've got in the line all the way across there, which is the values. If I say to somebody, Marianne, I want this proposal out by 3 o'clock. Hurry up, I want it out by 3. You've got to do it. Just, geez, you've only got an hour left. Hurry up. And so on. What does Marianne think I value? What's Marianne picking up that says, geez, John really wants me to? What's the value she's picking up from my words? Timeliness, speed, hurry up, get it out, just do it, right? Okay, so that's fine. So Marianne, hearing that in my voice, complies, and she does it really quickly. John's in a hurry. I won't check those figures. John's in a hurry. I won't check the price guide. I think I know it pretty well. John's in a hurry. I won't see which tier that client is on. John's in a hurry. I won't adjust the terms or whatever else, right? And now the quote goes out, or the proposal goes out. What's the most important document in any business? The quote? Yep. You can't make more profit than you've got in the quote, can you? The quote is where you lock in the profit and the cost. It's the most important document you have. Once it's gone, you can't say, oh shit, I should have made another $10 out of that. Because it's already gone. You know, that's committed. You committed your business to it. So make sure it works properly. Okay, so then, so we've got to make sure we got that right. So timeliness was possibly one of the ones there, but what should I have had in there as well? Accuracy. Okay, so we should have had that in there too. I should have been saying, hey, Marianne, I want to get this out by 3 o'clock. But listen, make sure you check everything properly. Make sure you check the pricing, the tier, this. Okay, but if you can get it out by 3 o'clock, I'd really appreciate that. What's Marianne picked up now? Timeliness, yes, but accuracy, right? Now I'm happier, aren't I? Marianne knows she's got to check it. She's still going to try and speed it up, but she's going to check it and so on. So how important do you think values are as part of your systems? Very, extremely important. Okay, who's walked into a shop and you go in there and you see 3 people standing together, clustered together, 3 of the team members there, and they're all having a little chat. You're standing there, nothing happens. And you do that a few times. Who's had that? Anyone had that happen where you go in, no service, you can see them there, they can see you, but they feel it's more important to do that. Where are their values? I can tell you what, they're not on customer focus, are they? Right? So if that's where your team are, you need to make sure the values are clear and they come through in your systems. So that's it. And then we go into the risks and the benefits. Fortunately, the writing's pretty horrible. He was a doctor in his past life. So what we've done is to write down all the risks. Now, rather than doing that now, what I want to do is take over now, and I'll just go through what it is, though. We're going to work with somebody here, somebody from a chair, remember, and we're going to work with them and capture their process. So Steve's just thinking of who that'll be for me. Okay, so what we've got is the risks, and the two questions we ask for risks. We ask what could go wrong and what has gone wrong in the past. Think of our camping trip. If last time we forgot to take the matches, what will we be really careful about this time? Have you got the matches, though? Have you checked the matches? Who's got the matches, etc.? Probably end up with 3 boxes of matches or whatever it might be. We don't use matches anymore, do we? Okay, so the risks become the teaching points, as I said. We want to make sure we've got the risks written down there, not the outcomes. Remember, the outcome is what happens if the risk isn't managed properly. We've got to be careful, because you can't... Can I unburn the scone? Can I? I'll give you a burnt scone. Can you unburn it? No. I give you one that's hard as rocks. Can you hard as rocks it? No. I give you one that's flat. Use plain flour instead of self-raising. Can you make it rise? No. So you can't unmanage an outcome, but you can manage the risks. So we've got to focus on the risks. There they are. So we've got that, and then likewise the benefits. And the top benefit, which is actually the third benefit on this one, because they didn't listen to me, is brand and image. Everything that everyone in your team does should have as the very toppest thing, the most important thing there is brand and image, right? Everything they do has to be congruent with your brand, your image. Who presents themselves as, we are the best you can get to do this? Who in this room says, we are the best you can get for property advice and wealth management and things related to that? Ta-da! Okay, so if that is you, everything in your business has to be congruent with that, doesn't it? Everything has to match. What does that mean? What does that mean? It means it's got to be in your systems, correct? Your systems have to have that. When they pull down the tray table, etc., etc. So every part of it has to match what you say. So you give this promise, now you have to prove the promise. And you do that by having everybody understand the benefits. If you do this properly, we will win more business. If you do this properly, we'll get them signing up to our loyalty plan or whatever it might be, etc. Will we always achieve the benefits? No, but we'll always contribute to them. Okay, Steve. Jonathan, you've been selected from amongst a college of your peers, and we would like you to come out here, please. Very well, thank you. He doesn't know what he's in for. Okay, good. Okay. Now, I'm going to put you, just because it's going to look silly if we stand here all in a row, I'm going to put you over that side now that you've walked over this side. So, let's help Jonathan. What's this one called, please? It is a terminal, that's right. This one is a process step, very good. This one is a diamond, and to make it easy, I put a little black bit at the top, right? So you can see which way is up, because they're sticky. This one here is a delay, that's it. I knew you'd remember them. This one's a connector, it connects from here to here, and this one is a document. Okay, so we're going to start there. So, Jonathan, in your business, what's your business do? Just explain very briefly.
We're a heating and cooling company. We service and install heating.
Okay, we service and we install heating and all the things around it. Bingo, and cooling, because in summer. Okay, that'd be a good one. Right, okay, so we got all of that. So what we want is one process, and remember, you may want to go back to your slide where we had the 5-step systems. So we're going to just sort of walk through that. We're going to make sure that we understand where we're working. So we don't want to think heating and cooling. I'm going to start here and go to there. Someone else is thinking I'm going to start here and go to there. Someone else is way down here and so on. So what would be a nice little neat self-contained process? By the way, just before we answer that, this is Jonathan's first one. Would that be a fair comment? That we've done this way. You may have done other things before. Never done it like that. Everyone heard that? Good. Okay, so I reckon we should start with the biggest, hairiest one in the business. What do you reckon? Scare him shitless. No, maybe not. That's not, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Anyway, so what should we start with? We should start with, and this would be you with your team as well if you're doing this, start with something which is valuable to the business. There's no point in doing something no one sees any value in. They won't put any attention to it. But we'll start with something which is useful but not overly complex, which is not overly risky. In other words, if we stuff it up, it's not going to hurt. Because what we're doing with our first one is we're learning, one, how to use these little guys, the little post-its and so on. We're learning how to write or map a process. We're learning how the process works often because we're negotiating sometimes onto this piece of paper. So let's not make it even more complicated by having a big, really complex process. Okay, let's do something that's going to be tight, finite, understandable. Everyone can see, oh, so that's how it works. Oh, good. We want to see those aha moments rather than those, oh, no. And, oh, sorry, I just remembered I've got to go. We don't want those things happening. So, can you think of such a process?
Yes. Well, I suppose every business or most businesses have service in their business. So
Yep.
I suppose the first one would be doing a service on an exit.
Okay, so conduct a service, do a service. I'm going to say conduct a service. Okay, so let's see, conduct a service. Is this an on-site, so somebody's coming to us with the machine, which is probably unlikely. We're going to go out to their home. It's a home or an office, doesn't matter. Okay, this is a home, so we're conducting a residential service. All right, so where does it start? Remember, we've got start, finish, prepare, follow, tidy up, and then the doing it bit. So where does it start?
The initial point of contact, which would be the phone call, more often either a phone call or an email from the client to us.
Okay, should we start mapping our process from when we get that phone call? No? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? It's all right, it's not a test. If we start from there, we've got the whole thing about receiving it, working out who's available, who has the right skill set, who can fit that time, the client's time when they're available. And then we've got to schedule the job, we've got to now assign the job to techs, and so on. And then finally, we've got to go out there and do it, make sure we've got the right tools, right equipment, right everything else. Phew, finally we can do the job. So where do we want to start? So can you see all the bits we've got?
We want to start probably half an hour before they're meant to do the job when they're leaving the job before.
Okay, so that's a good start. So we are going to start from the time when they have either they're doing the first job of the day, which means they're either at home checking the van, or they're here at the workshop checking the van, or they've just finished the last job and they're checking the van or whatever it is and getting on to there. Is that right? That's a good starting point. Everyone's clear with that? Good. Where should we finish?
The client, well, actually, I was going to say the client paying the bill, but from what you just said then, that'll have to be in every one of them. So probably the completion of the service and the client walking out the door, right?
Yep.
Handover or completion.
The client's walking out the door. Or
No, we're walking
text. I was going to say, I think it was lovely. Bye. Oh, wait a sec. Oh, come back. Yeah, I can imagine it, sadly. Okay, so now, when you say we're not taking the bill, do you take money on the spot or you just give an invoice and they pay it?
More often than not, we are going down the path of we're going to eventually be taking money off them, so that's what we should be doing.
Let's map that then. What do you reckon? So this is our chance to not only improve the current process, because we do that here, but what we're going to do is to build the future. So this isn't one of those things where we do a lot of analysis and then we go and think about it for 3 weeks, then we come back and do that. Did I just go duller? Ah. I knew I wasn't very bright, but I thought could be better than that. Okay, that'll be better. Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to start from the time we complete the last job, or we are ready to start this job. Okay, and we're going to go all the way through till we've collected the money and we're moving out the door.
Yep.
How does that sound?
Yep.
All right, so we know the start, we know the finish. Everyone's clear on that? What we're going to do is to go through the risks and benefits sheet now. Now, I'm up here, and I haven't got a pen on me. Well, I have. I've got about 12 of them. But I'm not going to write anything. Is somebody happy to write? Can somebody be our scribe? No? Okay, thank you. Thanks. So what we'd be doing is to put a big 1 in the corner. Now, if anyone wants to fill one in, or if you just want to sort of see how it would work, because this is the process we do over and over again. So we've got a big 1 up in the corner there. We've got a time, which is something like, I don't know what it is. You know what it is. 4:25. Okay, and we've got the date, which is the 30th. That's good. Still is. Okay, and then the process is conduct a residential service call, or service. Conduct a residential service. Would that be okay? Everyone's happy with that? Okay, so there's that. The area, delivery. Okay. And then we've got the process owner. Who's the process owner for this? Who owns the process? That would be the responsible person. They're the doer. But who's saying, when you get there, I want you to go in, you introduce yourself, and you say this and you do that. Then you walk inside, you ask permission before, and you take your boots off, or whatever it is. I don't know what you do. All that. Who owns the process? Who's telling people what to do? The company owner, I would say, the owner. Business owner? Business manager, yep. Remember, what we're trying to do, and I haven't drawn this picture, but imagine a big triangle there. You're at the top, are you? You're this person? All these monkeys are on your back. All the things you've had to do because you're the only one who knew how to do them. What we're trying to do is to roll those monkeys down the hill as far as we can. I've got a picture on it if you want to look at that. Okay, so we're trying to get the monkeys off your back and roll them down to the supervisor level or down to the doer level, the technician guys. So if we've got something that you do that they could do, this guy should do it. If he has something that these guys could do, we want to get them doing it because that frees you up to do the $100 an hour work and them not. Okay. So where are we here? We're down in the process owner. So that's the what was it? The service manager? Yep. Service manager. Okay, so that's that. Racy. Who does this? Technician? Or what?
Service technician.
Service technician?
And or apprentice.
/ apprentice. So service technician / apprentice. Okay. Who's accountable for it? Whose ass gets kicked if it doesn't work properly in the company?
He's first and then the business manager.
I'd say the business or service manager in that case. Would it be? Yep. So I'd be speaking to the service manager. It's the service manager's job to follow it up with the technician. Is that how you see it? It depends, different businesses, different things, but that's how I would see it. Depends how big the business is and so on. Okay. What we're doing, by the way, we're never going to say, I've got a 3-people business, and so I'm only using those 3 titles. We're using roles. One person can have many roles. Here am I in my little business, and I've got 3 roles. I'm the lawnmower guy, I'm the tea lady, and I'm also the accounts person. But then I employ somebody to do my tea or my accounts, and I say, oh, here's your role. You're the accounts person. Can you see how it works? So don't think in terms of titles, think in terms of roles. Okay, not sausage. Okay, contribute, consult. So who contributes or consults to this? So the technician or the apprentice get out to the job, and they're saying, oh, this one's, I don't know whether we do we still do these? I don't think I've seen one of these before. Who would that be? So it could be reception, so put reception there for contribute, consult. Would it be perhaps the service manager? Yep, service manager. So reception, service manager, because it could be either. Something could have been about scheduling the job. I've come out and I realised, oh, you know what, this is a much bigger job. We're going to need another session, another time, another appointment. Wrong address, all those different things, futile visit and so on. Informed, who needs to be informed? Who needs to know that this has all happened? Yep, the client's not part of our business though, so who needs to know that you've done that service job? Who would be going through and saying, where are the guys up to? Right, he's done service manager again, exactly. Okay, so can you see we've now filled in Racy, and now the last one we're going to do is the team members involved. This is the only time we're going to use the actual names of people. All the other bits are roles, because when I look at this workflow, it's been mapped, I'm saying, why does it go over here? I don't understand that. There's no point in saying, oh, it's a sales rep who did that. Yeah, but we've got 23 sales reps. Who am I speaking to? I want to know, it's Fred. So we want the names here. It's not for blame, it's just for follow-up and understanding. And for credit. Okay, so what's the process that comes before? This process here, this one where it's got that little icon there, that little symbol, is the one that we've got over here is the name, which is conduct a residential service call. What took place before that? What did we do before? Oh, you can have that one just so you can see it there as well. Would it be schedule? Schedule a
Point of contact was scheduled and determined what sort of system they had.
Okay.
And then determined which technician needs to go out.
Okay, so let's just say that's all part of schedule, right? Schedule a job. So the process before is schedule a job, and then we've got now this one, which is conduct a residential service job. And then after that would be, what would be after this? So we've done the service.
Confirmation 24 hours in advance. Send out an email.
But this process we're doing now is the one where we're actually doing the service. So what's after the service? Would it be make a follow-up call? Even if it's
After
3...
the service is completed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be, or it might be follow up with a quote sometimes, or follow up with a replacement, or parts, waiting on
Yep,
parts.
so it could be a few things.
Yep.
So which one is most common?
Ordering parts.
So let's just put order parts. We could put order parts slash prepare a quote slash whatever else it could be, okay? Or it could just be follow up to see if they want to join our loyalty plan or something. You got a loyalty plan or a service maintenance? Yeah, that one, yep. Okay, so let's say we've got that. Now, what values apply to this process? Conducting a service call. Just you hold for a moment. What values do you think would apply in a business that does service calls and so on? What values should apply there? Professionalism. Is that one of them?
Yep, definitely.
There you go. Professionalism. So we got that as a value. Yep, so timeliness, exactly. So we want people being on time. Not quite Swiss Railways necessarily, but we want people to know that if you say 3 o'clock, because we're going to call, remember? And so I presume we do. We want them to actually turn up when they say they're going to turn up. Everyone expects that. Again, what we're thinking of is what are all the things that people hate about trade jobs? Oh, they never turn up when they say they're going to. They've never got the right parts. They're think of all the whinge things. That's right. They always come in. They leave their grubbies all over the floor and so on. So those are the things. They're the risks, aren't they? And they guide us when we make our process work. So we capture them all here. Okay. So we're going on. We've got professionalism. We've got what was the other one? Punctuality, courtesy. So we got that. So those are our 3 values. Can anyone juggle more than 3 balls here? Okay, so don't put more than 3 values. Some people want to sort of put down, integrity, respect, teamwork, this, and so on. Don't do it. Okay, so we're looking at risks. What are all the things that could go wrong or have gone wrong in the past with doing service jobs? We won't listen, you just tell us anyway.
What could go wrong?
Or have gone wrong in the past.
With the equipment or
With anything in. So we're only looking at the things that can go wrong inside the process, not if we don't do the process, because this is the process for doing it. So if we do this process, during that process, what are the things that could go wrong? And remember, we want risks, not outcomes.
what could go wrong?
This is the hardest bit for people to get. Yeah.
Not thinking about what we do during the service, but then what could go wrong? A part is normally faulty. That's why we get caught out.
Yep.
But if that's not going wrong during this process, that's normally gone wrong a month beforehand.
Yep.
What could go wrong? Yeah, safety. I think safety.
So let's just put down here. So there is a risk that the guy won't follow safety procedures.
Yep.
So not follow safety procedures. So we're always writing it in the form of the risk is that they won't do something, right? So we're always putting it last. Don't just write down safety procedures. Because someone's going to look at this next Monday and say, you put down risk of safety procedures. What's the risk? They've got to do that. Oh, I don't know what that means. Ignore it. So put down something that someone's going to look at and say, oh, because we're using this to train somebody, aren't we? Or to do performance management. So I want to say to them, hey, now when you did this, so this is where I've just come off a call with Mrs. Smith, and she said that you went round there and this happened, blah, blah, blah. So which bit didn't you do? Oh, yeah, I didn't do the site risk assessment, or I didn't do this, or I didn't complete that, or I had mud all over my boots and I forgot to take them off, whatever it might be. So all those things.
So the other one that just comes to me is the risk could be that the parts are not available for that.
Yep, so parts not available. Now, we only discovered that on the site, I hope. We wouldn't drive all the way there to say, hey, just letting you know, the parts aren't available. Bye.
A lot of the time you don't know what parts are needed until you service it.
Exactly.
While you're servicing it, you ring to get a part number and
Yep.
it's not available. So
Exactly. So what's the actual risk? Because that's an outcome. That could happen. I mean, it's a risk, I suppose, at one level, but
the risk is unrepairable.
the risk is that we don't advise the client of the outcome of our search for the new part. So anytime I go and work on an air conditioner, it's a possibility that something will be unrepairable. So that's just a risk of having an air conditioner, really.
Yep.
The risk for us as a business is that we don't tell the client, give them the options, explain the outcome, and so on. Would that be a way of looking at it?
Yeah, it should
Okay, so let's just say part, not advising client of parts availability or parts issue. That could be it. What other risks are there? Other things that could go wrong or have gone wrong in the past. I just want to put that one in there somewhere about not respecting the client home or whatever it is, because it's a residential one. So yeah, cleanliness, not taking my dirty boots off, not asking if it's okay if I use the bathroom or whatever. You know, just sort of, where's the bathroom, love? You know, and coming out, doing his fly up and so on. You know, they're sort of things that common courtesy says you shouldn't do them. I never do them anymore.
Less about the parts and the unit, you're talking more about what are the risks in the customer.
Yes, because it's the whole thing. Remember, it's not just the plumber, it's the marketing component. These guys, do they wear your badge on their shirt? Yep. Good. Do you want them to wear it proudly? Yep. Do you want the client to say, these guys from, what was it again? Dawson Heating and Cooling. They came here, and honestly, those guys were really good. The guy who came was this guy called Fred, I think his badge said. I don't know whether he got names. But we want them to see that and to be proud of what they see. Oh, those guys from Dawson, oh, honestly, they walked in, they put in. You don't want that. Okay, so we're moving along. So I just want to do a few here because I want to get to this bit. Any other risks? So is that a risk or an outcome? That's the outcome. What was the risk? We got that one already. So see how we want to make sure that we always come back to the risk, not the outcome. Okay, any other risks anyone can think of? Beg pardon, sorry? Yep, so do you ever get out there and the client refuses to pay?
That's definitely. They can sometimes say, we've only here for 20 minutes, why do I have to pay?
Yep, so that's an outcome. What's the risk? Yep. We should have said, that's right, we should have said, okay, look, we can come out at 3 o'clock on Thursday, yes, certainly. Look, our service call is blah. The job you're talking about, from what you're saying, it sounds like it's probably this. That's probably going to cost $100 to $200, and we may have to wait a week or so to get it in. Is that okay? Good. And I would also be asking, since you're moving to payment, I would also be saying, and how will you be paying for that? Because again, part of that refusal to pay or not being able to pay is because, sorry, I haven't got that much in cash or whatever it is. Silly. We should have pre-warned them. So the risk is that we haven't given them an estimate of the cost or time or whatever. Okay. Has anyone made popcorn in a microwave? What do the instructions say? Unfold it completely, place it this way up, put it on high, cook it for 2.5 to 3 minutes, or until there are fewer than 2 to 3 pops per second. I've read it. Okay, so what happens if you keep on going? Do you get more popcorn? You get more popcorn, don't you? So why wouldn't I just keep on going? Because it'll be burnt. So again, if you follow this process with your team, someone will be sitting there saying, there's one more risk, And whilst they're doing that, you've got 4 other people around the table all sitting there, here goes John again, geez, and so on. So someone just very politely says, popcorn, and that's just a polite way of saying, hey, let's stop, let's move on, and so on. In other words, there's no point in going further because it'll be burnt, we'll waste the energy. Because if we've got 4 people around the table and you, how much per hour is that, typically? A couple of hundred at least. Yep. If you've got me at the table, geez, we're up to thousands. No, not quite. Okay, I forgot the dreaming bit. Okay. All right, so we've got our risks, our benefits. What's the first benefit? For us here, what's the benefit of this process? If we do this perfectly, how will it help the team? Yep. What's the first benefit always going to be? I said it. Brand and image. So we want our brand and image to be the first thing off their lips, in effect. Now, what you said, though, is part of that. So brand and image covers a multitude of sins, doesn't it? There's a lot in that. They felt that we did what we said we were going to. They felt that we offered a good service. They were really pleased with the way we said that we'd be back next week to check it or whatever it was and so on.
The benefit is that they will tell other people.
Right, so we have the potential for referrals. So referrals for new work or whatever, okay? It could be also, do you have a loyalty plan or sign up?
Yes.
So potential to sign up for maintenance plan or whatever it is. And so on. So those, if we do it well, that could happen. So again, instead of going out and fixing the leaky tap, now I've fixed the anode, I've done this, and I've got them lined up for whatever it is, and so on. Testimonial. So if we do a good job and we do it well, do everything well, hey, would you be happy giving a testimonial? Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, do this, and so on. So that's it. Okay, so we're going to now do it. Now, can you write? It's amazing, isn't it? You come all this way and you find people who can write as well. Okay, so have I got, yes, look, I happen to have 2 pens. So when we're doing this, remember what's the first thing about getting people to be accountable? Involvement. So if I do it and you're watching, who's learning all about it? Me. And you're just sitting there, oh, John's going to do it. So what do people do typically if it sounds like John's going to do all the work? They let you do it. They'll just sort of gradually oh yeah, no, you're right, you do it. No, it's okay. And so on. No, you're right. And so on. And they withdraw. Do you want them to withdraw? Do you want them to be active? So the only way for them to be active is for them to be active. So here, that one there is conduct residential service call. Now, if we had more than 2 of us here, whilst you're doing that, whilst Jonathan is doing that, I'd say, hey, Peter, what's the next thing we do? Or just not around the room, not in turn, but just to the other people there, I'd be saying, so what's the next thing? Because whilst Jonathan's writing, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 idle people, haven't we? So we can keep on going. So that's the whole benefit. We're involved, and it also keeps them alert. It might be me, it might be, and so on. So we're doing that. That goes right up the top left. So we're always going to go, who learnt to write? Anyone here learnt to read Arabic? No? Anyone here learned to read Chinese, Japanese, anything else? Nope. Everyone here reads sort of English type script? Yep. If I put a piece of paper to you and I said, there it is, start reading, where would you naturally go? This is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Where would you go? A, B, C, or D? Who went to A? Okay, everyone in the room. Why? Because that's where we start. So where are we going to start? Top left. They do. It's the paper. I hate this paper. I hate it. No. I'm going to keep the paper right there. This paper is the stuff with the sticky on the back, right? So I can stick it to the wall. It looks lovely, doesn't it? But the problem is that they put a plastic cover on the front so that the next one won't stick to it. And so we've got to come down just below it, and you can see it once you get used to it and you know what you're looking for. So, yeah, tricks for young players. So, okay, I prefer the ordinary one, but I'm happy to use this one, Steve. We're good. Okay, now, so what we would have done, I did know it was going to happen. What we would have done up here is to come up and say 1, and this is the 30th of the 8th of the 18th, and so on. We started at whatever it was, 4:30, I don't know what it was, 4:20, look at that, to the minute. And we would have said here, Jonathan, Dawson, and if there was anyone else, I wouldn't put me there because I'm a consultant, I'm not them. And we would have had Bill Smith, and we would have been W, wouldn't it? And we would have had Fred Nurk or whoever else is there. And of course, Mary Ann Jones. Okay? So we would have had all those people. We put their initials there because we want them in the final thing we do, right? Because we want recognition. People love this. Okay, so now, what's the first step we do? Yep, the process we're doing. What's the first thing that happens?
The technician drives to site and he's greeted at the door and tells the customer what he's there to do. So
Okay, where are we going to start? Because we can only do one thing at a time.
starting with the job, so he's going to get his tools out of the car.
No. What was the first thing that Jonathan told us they're going to do? Drive to site. But do you give a call before you leave to say, hey, Mr. Smith, just letting you know, I'm just leaving, I'm in somewhere?
No, we give him a time, and if we're going to be late, we call him. So no, we don't.
Okay, so that's it then. So we now just drive to site?
Yep.
Okay, so let's just do that. I got that one. Don't you worry. I'll get you this one though so you can be ready for the next one. So whilst I'm doing drive to site, what can Jonathan be doing? That'd be good, wouldn't it? Check on Google Maps. How long is it going to take? We used to use Google Maps plus 5 minutes or plus 10 minutes, depending on how far it was, sort of thing. So would you do that? Confirm ETA or check ETA. Yeah, make it short. We don't want to put, like in sort of condensed so it's code, but we don't want to write a sentence. Okay. Drive to site. So I've already done this one. Now, I bet you did it. Yeah, see, he did. See, there's a secret way of taking these off. Because these ones are super sticky. You've got to take them off like that, sideways, and then they go like that and they stay flat. Instead of like... Okay, so... So, when we do this, just put it up there. Confirm ETA, just put it underneath that one.
Yep.
And just a little bit higher because I don't know how long it's going to be. Yep. That's it. As long as I can get a little arrow in there, I'm happy. So what I'm going to do, when we confirm the ETA, why are we doing that? Yeah, but we're doing it because if we're going to be late, what are we going to do? Yep, but what are we going to do? That's what they're going to be upset. So if it's going to be a late arrival, what should we then do? Call client and confirm and advise ETA. Is that right? Yep, do that one. So call client and advise ETA. If we're not going to be late, we can come down just to save paper. I'm going to go over to there. So in other words, this line would come yes, not late. Come down here and go there, and we'll go across. Okay, everyone happy with that? Okay, so now let's move it. So drive to site. Now, this is where, when I'm working with service companies, they're all saying, so what do? Do you go and introduce yourself, or do you walk in with your whatever it is, your tools? What would you do? What do they do at Dawson? That's it?
Yep.
Perfect.
Sorry, what was that question?
So when they arrive at site. Should this guy get his tools ready straight away?
No, we generally go and greet the customer from over there.
Okay, so go and greet the customer and tell them what they're there. Okay, so now who calls them? We call them a client here, and now you're saying customer. Who differentiates between client and customer, apart from me? So for me, a customer is somebody who comes and buys an ice cream from me. They give me $7, I give them an ice cream, they go away, they don't know my name, I don't know theirs. We're both happy. A client is somebody who I have a relationship with. Okay, so let's just go. We've got to do this very quickly now. Okay, so drive to site. So we're just going to...
And they get the tools, so after they've greeted the customer, they then get the tools.
Okay, so I'm going to say greet client. You've got the collect tools or take tools inside. Yep, I'd do that. Greet client and review job. Okay. Yep, you've got that one. So you're just to the right of that. So we're going straight across in a line. Yep. Okay, not too far. Come on. Gee, honestly. Okay, so now greet. Oh, look at that. Okay, so just so eager. Just wants to get on the job. Okay, we greet the client and review the job. We set up the tools. What are we doing next?
Make the workplace safe.
Yep, so make workplace safe.
And then commence diagnosis.
Yep.
Do you want me to write commence diagnosis?
Yep, just run diagnosis or just something like that. Okay, I'd put a verb there though. Make workplace safe. Start. Okay, set up tools, make workplace safe. Okay. Okay, so we've done that. What's next?
Well, once you diagnose what's wrong, or you service the system, so you actually...
Okay, so conduct the service. Is it as basic as that?
Which is then we have a checklist. And there'll be like a 20-point checklist.
So what should I be using to say that we've got that 20-point checklist?
Follow the procedure.
Yeah, no, but what am I going to do to show it here? I'll put it here. What have I got here to say that there's a checklist to follow? There you go. So here is, what's that checklist called?
Domestic service checklist.
There you go. We should have called it domestic rather than residential, shouldn't we? Is that right?
Yep.
Domestic service, what was it? Checklist. So now, on the risks and benefits sheet, which you have down there, down in props, so see down the props there, we would go right down to the bottom here, and we'd write down here domestic service checklist, and then we'd select checklist. Does it exist already? Do you have that already? So we'd put use existing, and we don't have to put an assigned to because it's already there. Okay, so here's our domestic service checklist. What do we do next?
Follow-up parts if it needs parts.
Okay, so order parts. We just love taking photos. Get one of me, Steve. Get one of me. He didn't like you. He didn't take a photo of you.
No, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going on. So order parts. Do we need to order parts? That's what that's saying, isn't it? It's a question.
Before order parts is, yeah, it would be quote to the client parts.
Okay, so now, so now do we need to order parts? Because we're not going to prepare a quote otherwise. So we conduct the service. Do we need to order parts? We will always need to order parts.
Sometimes we will.
So if we do need to, yes, then we're going to now present quote. Yep, that's right. That's a document. Yes, that's one. Yeah, that's right. Present quote to client. So indicative quote, is it? Just a rough quote?
Yeah, most of the time, if it's a major quote, we'll put
You
it
can
in
look it up straight away. Okay.
or we'll put it in writing.
Is that with a template?
Normally, do we get the technician to email? So it might be verbal. If it's $300, I say, yeah, just do it.
Yep.
Normally, if it's an expensive quote, we'll get them to email the client, and then the client has to email us back with their approval.
Okay. So I'm just going to do the straight one now in the interest of time.
Yep.
So we're going to do that. And then if you're now going to give them a quote, what's the outcome of giving them the quote?
Either an acceptance or a decline.
So quote accepted. Yes. So present quote. Quote accepted. Is it now place order with supplier?
Place order, yep.
So there you go, place order with supplier. And if it isn't accepted, what would you do? Oh, bye. I'm going to take my bat and go home.
And invoice for work completed.
Invoice for work completed. Would you discuss options?
You can sometimes they might prefer to replace it instead. So yeah, give them
Yep.
the option.
So I would, because I'd rather have a sale than no sale. Present options. And again, if I'm training the guys, I want to make sure they get every opportunity out of this. We're helping the client. You know what, your thing doesn't work. Oh, I need to order parts. Oh, how much it'll be? 500, you've got to be kidding. But we could order a replacement, blah. That'll cost you 250. Oh, okay, well, it might be 700, but it's a new machine. Oh, that sounds good, I'll do that. Okay, so present options. And what was the next bit? And prepare and...
Quote accepted, present options, and then we'll be going on to ordering the parts if they...
Yep.
Yeah, we've got
So
ordering parts
that-
here, but before that was present options in case they want to replace it. So it'll either be place order for parts or place order for a new unit, for example.
Yep, so let's say here, quote accepted. It could come down here, present options.
Yep.
And then it could be now proceed with options or...
Proceed with
Yeah, just that would be a question. So you're writing it on the angle like that, just like that. And then now I'm going to say here, prepare invoice for work completed. And is that using Ironman or something? Or there you go. Look at that. Shit. Does this man know his stuff? Who told him that? I know it is Aeroflow. Yeah, a little A thingy. Yeah, prepare invoice for. I didn't know that. We haven't discussed this before. For work completed. I'll give you that $5 later. Completed. So place order, is that through Aeroflow?
Yep.
There you go, A. And then just for Christine, I'd say A equals Aeroflow. Is it A-R-O?
FLO.
Yeah, Aeroflow. Yep, okay. All right, so there's that. We can do, yep. Okay, present options. I'm going to do this one here because if it's no, it's just going to come straight down to my one. Prepares blah, blah, blah. And if it's yes, where's it going to go? Every question, every diamond has a question mark, which is good. You're right there, okay? Because if it's yes, it's going to be, oh, good, up here. Go up here, place order. So that's it. Okay. Now, we would then go in, and I'm going to sort of say we would finish it off and go through the process, but in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there. Is that okay? Now, what do you think of the process? Because we do this every day of the week, and we just do it at the first time. We go in, we work a week with a client, which is typically enough to get all the core things done, if not everything. And in that time, we will go through this. We'll do it the first time, and it's a bit of a, oh, that's right, yeah, and so on, just as we've done here. How long do you reckon it takes them before they are now saying, oh, and the next thing we've got to do is a diamond, and then we got, how many times, how long do you reckon it is? To me, it's often, not to me, it's just what happens. It's sometimes the second day, sometimes the third, very rarely the fourth or the fifth. So people pick it up very quickly. What are they developing? They're developing what I call the process paradigm. They start to think in terms of process. Did you hear, and I'm not saying anything nasty here, when Jonathan started describing this at the beginning, he said, oh, we go there, we get the job, we do it, and so on. You started telling it like we're talking to somebody just having a chat. By the time we finish, then we do this, and then we do that. Can you see the beginnings of what I call the process paradigm there? We're thinking in terms of steps. Do this, then check that, then do this and check it, or whatever it is, and so on. So this process happens. Let me show you why Steve has been taking photos. Can I say thank you very much? Can I ask for a big hand there? Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so now, let me see, and I'm hoping we've still got Wi-Fi here. We have. Isn't that a good thing? So whilst we've been doing that, we've been doing this. And I'm hoping Christine was there. Oh, look at that. So this is, oh, thank you. Okay, so this is, all I knew was it was Dawson, right? That's everything I knew before we started this. This is the process we've just been working on. There it is, right up to where we are. Okay? Where does this want to end up? Here in Lucidchart? Not really. Where this needs to end up is somewhere else. And that somewhere else is in here somewhere. There it is. So here we've got that. And we just take this little thing away. There's the Dawson logo and everything up the top there. And then we come into marketing. And there is this one, which at the current time, because Christine didn't know what it was called, if we look here, we'll find, oh, look, there it is. It's already published. It's already available to the girls and boys. Is that service, by the way, do you reckon? Yeah, it's not too bad, is it? And so I would now just press E to edit, and I'd come in here and I'd say, no, this isn't actually chart 1. This one here is conduct, and we're going to say domestic service call, or service, that's right. No, service. Okay, so there's that. And save that. We would have done the risks and benefits, but again, that was a bit, we haven't given them the sheet. So here it is now, and then I realized, oh, that shouldn't say residential, that should actually say that. So I can just go straight into Lucidchart, change that to domestic, here it is up here, it's all done. But this is classic Google Sites, this is the original one. As you may know, Google Sites is being updated. So now we can look at the new one improved. And so here's the same thing. Welcome to Dawson Heating and Cooling. So this is just taking our standard one, but going a little bit further than that. So we've got our standard things there. But we know, and I think it's in marketing at the moment. There it is, chart 1. And again, this is a different one, so it hasn't automatically picked that up. This would be simply, here we've got conduct a domestic service without the 1. And we could make that smaller text and all the rest of it. I'll just leave it right there at the moment. And again, if we just upfresh this, that's a new word I invented. Everyone like it? Upfresh. Here we go. Here is up. Thank you. Okay, it'll work. Oh, so if we publish that, let's just publish that or have a look at it. So we're just going to publish this site and we publish it. And before you know, and before you can count to 1,000 in 3 different languages, it has gone up there. So now we can view the published one, or we can view the published site. Sorry, this is just previewing it. Back, go back. If we come to here and view the published site, we should, I hope, see the updated ones, unless it was not published there as well, or whatever else, and also. Okay, so it'll show there too. Okay. So, and everything is in there and all ready to go. There are key steps, there are teaching points, and so on, all looking very, very pretty. I don't know why this isn't showing there, because it should be. Okay, but I'm going to take it as done. So we've got the little logo, little fav icon there and so on, but it's right there. Now, with this, we could come down here and we could write as much detail as we wanted to in the key steps. So we can put there, so when you meet and greet the client, greet where it was, greet and client and review job, we could put those steps in more detail. Did I just kill it? I hope not. Be good if I didn't, wouldn't it? Okay, not there, here. Oh, well, while I'm here, I could actually just come here, couldn't I? So this is what Christine, see there's Christine, see the little C up there? That's Christine. So if I came here, I could say, hi, Christine. Hi, Teen. Okay, so Christine's there. She may not see that. No, she saw it, look, that's Christine. Hi, John. See, it's all real. Okay, so there it is, it's happening. And then we could now come here and say, conduct domestic service call, and of course that is there. And then if we came back over to the Google site, which is over here somewhere, there, and so on, it still says that, but of course as soon as we do a hard refresh from the server, there it is. So this is what we do. This is why we work so well with the client, because we just come in, it's there. What we started the day, we finish in the day. It's all there at the end of the week when we walk out. Everything's right there and they've got it. And down the bottom here, we've got a little folder there, and we can put that's a Google Drive folder, which was just embedded in here. We don't have it here, didn't bother putting it, but that's where all the documents that go there. So what documents would be sitting there? That checklist, right? That'd be sitting right there in front of them. Everything would be right there. Here's a guide, a guide to good customer service, which is sitting right there. Here's a video that says how to blah, blah, blah. Here's a little sample of Jonathan. So, good morning, Mr. Smith. I'm here to look at, showing exactly how you want it to go. So the guys don't go, "Good day, love. I'm here to fix your air conditioning." Yeah. Is it out the back? And so on. You don't want them doing that. So we've got that opportunity. The risks and benefits, once they're put, will be down the bottom there. So if I show you one we baked recently, so I haven't checked which one this is. This is these guys. Let me come here to Tour de Vines. These guys are in Melbourne. They do bicycle tours. They've been down that road. I haven't. But here's how they book a guide, book a driver. Okay, so here's a little process. This is a form we built for them for booking a driver. And here's the process. A very simple process. But you can see there, we've got it there with the Google form and everything there. Can you see how it would be easy to train your team what to do? Because you can walk through every step here. This is the system, and you can train them by saying, okay, so you confirm all the tour elements and look in the booking spreadsheet to do that. If everything's booked, then you go down and you complete the driver request form. So to do that, just scroll up here and complete the form, and so on, right? So then, and once you've done that, then you wait and see until the driver accepts it or rejects it. So if they don't accept it, if it was an operational issue, like I can be there at 10 but not at 9, we might be able to change it, etc., etc., etc. But you can see how, from a flow chart, which we developed with the people who do it, ownership, involvement, now I've got the basis to say, this is how we do it. Raise your hand, cross your heart, spit, hope to die. Okay? You must follow this. You are not allowed to change from this process. This is it. Follow it upon pain of death. So, whether you do this or do something similar, can you see the way now we've got the basis for saying that's how we do it? We've agreed this is the one best way of doing that. If anyone has any variation for that, that's fine. We can come down the bottom here and we can just come down below that. Not on this one. Oh, by the way, these are all the booking ones. These are real ones. And we can come down here. See the folder? There's the folder with all the things. There's the form. This is the request. These are all the requests there and so on. Here are all the risks and benefits. Just basic, wrong or missing information is a risk. Invalid driver's license is a risk. We should attract that and so on. And then here are the people who were actually in there, Damien, Lisa and Bernard and so on and so on. I won't say their stuff. But can you get the idea? Everything is there. We can use this to train the team efficiently. If they're doing the right thing, great, we know it works. If they're doing the right thing, but the process doesn't work, they can come back, and instead of saying, it doesn't work anyway, it's all rubbish, they can come back and say, yeah, see here when we do that, we should be doing this, or we should add this step in. Or can you add something to the form so it captures this? Everything is now on something real that they're seeing in front. Compare this to how we would have had it if we wrote all that system down, all the process down in words. Which one do you reckon is easier? This one's visual. I can go to this and I can point to the step. If it's in words, what somebody has to do, because you're there looking at the same words, But I have to have a picture of that in my head. I'm trying to now get the picture across to you in your head, and we're hoping that those pictures are the same. Because when I say, see here when you do this, I'm seeing this, but you're seeing that, and so on. So it's just that's hard to do. Okay, I'm going to stop there because that's the end. If there are any questions, I can take a couple of questions now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, big
Okay.
round of applause for John.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got any questions? Just throw your hands up and John will sort it out.
Yep. Go. Yep. So the software we're using is Google Drive. So when Steve was taking the photo, that's going straight into a Google Drive folder. In our shared folder, in our team drive, in Google World, in the Google Drive on the web. Okay, Christine is in the Philippines, in Pampanga, just up near Clark Field. She is looking at that, and she's just going in there and monitoring it. When she sees something comes in, she starts mapping it. We have a process here, which I can't show you, but when she gets it, so it goes up as image 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When she starts work on it, she would change that to be conduct residential service call, because that's what it was called there. When she's finished, she puts a Z in it, and that moves it downwards. So all the ones that aren't done, if there are any, are at the top, and all the finished ones are down the bottom. I can see that without having to go in here to look at it. It's right on there. From there, what she's mapping it in is Lucid Chart. So when we were over here, in the other one, wherever that was, Alt-Tab. Okay, so here we are. This is Lucid Chart, which is a great piece of software for mapping stuff and so on. We're the biggest users in the world, we've been told. We have hundreds and hundreds of clients with hundreds of workflows and so on. We map it in there, and so here, you know, we've got all our little icons. So we have, oh, there's the arrow flow. Look at that, you got it. Jonathan, look. It's a new logo too, mate. See, we don't muck around. No. Okay, so what else? The other software we use is Google Sites. So we use old Google Sites or new Google Sites. Everything just goes straight in there. And from there, you've got all the Google add-ons, all the spreadsheets, docs, and PDFs, everything you want. Video, if I wanted to take a video now, I'd take a video, and then it's straight into a Google Drive folder. A minute later, there it is. So it's right there. Everything happening straight away. It's so easy, so accessible. Any other questions? So what we would do with that is to take a photo of that too, because that would go up to Christine, and she would now complete the risks and benefit, the teaching points down the bottom of the page. In this particular case, you're welcome to give it to Jonathan, and swap his with yours, or take a new one. Okay, any last question there? So we would recommend, and I'm saying this not to sort of say, oh, you should use us. My recommendation is, what's the best way to learn to play the piano? Anyone can get a piano book, play the piano, and anyone can learn to play the piano. We've all seen Groundhog Day or whatever it is, and you can keep on going through that. My recommendation is, if you're good at it, give it a go. See how you go with it. The danger is you'll be okay, and so on. It's hard for people to follow. Most people who start out will try and do things, and then it fails, and then they've made a public failure, and everyone else says, oh, not this again, and so on. So my recommendation is, if you have somebody who does it well, get them to help you with it. It's just an honest thing. I'm not trying to tout for business or do anything like that. I'm booked out for months in advance. But so it is a matter of work out the best way for you to do it. If you have that sort of mind, that's not the end of the answer though, because are you the right person to do it doesn't just mean can you do it, should you be doing it? If you're supposed to be up here above the clouds seeing where the business is going to go, then why are you coming down here and working in the engine? You can't be the pilot if you're part of the engine. So, you know, think of it like that as well. So we get through more in a week than most people can do in a year. Well, not really. Sounds good though. Okay. Anything else? Other questions? I will be here for dinner and breakfast and morning tea, lunch. Yeah, all of that. Okay. Thank you very much. You've been wonderful. No one fell asleep, so I thank you for that.
Big round of applause, John Tonkin. Thank you very much, John.